of your FICO. 760 and up, you know that's life goes. If your credit too low, walking on a tightrope. So yo, credit up, get your credit up. Credit up, get your credit up. Credit up.
So this is credit to freedom, right? With this information, I've been able to change my life and so many other people's lives, right? And the reason why it's called credit to freedom is because you literally can become free with this information that I'm about to show you. All right. So if you have bad credit, I'm happy that you actually tapped into this this Zoom, into this webinar, because you should not have bad credit, or credit should not be an excuse after you guys get the information. I told you guys early on the last couple of days, you guys are going to receive a wealth of information. If today has not been a testament of that, I don't know what to tell you, but we are only going to continue to get better, and we are just getting started. All right, so a little bit about me, right? I'm a certified credit consultant. I'm also a business coach. I've worked with well over probably 250 clients at this point in time, getting them to the 700 club. I have gotten people well over $2 million worth of funding. I'm also a therapist. I went to school for psychology. I got a background in mental health. Something else that is not on here, which I just started, which is a new business venture, is that I just started a luxury rental car business. I started this in March, and I'm well on my way to 6 figures with only being in the business for a few months, right? And I did that with all credit, no cash out of pocket, all right? So the information that I'm going to give you is life-changing. So strap in, we're going to get it going. So this is a case study of mine, right? This young lady, she lost all of her credit. With the information that I'm about to give you guys that I gave her, she was able to get $173,000 worth of capital within 6 months. With that, she started an LLC. She got a luxury vehicle in her business name, and she was also able to go and buy land and property in Nigeria, her home, where she was able, which with the information that I gave her and the capital that she received through the funding. This gentleman right here, as you can see, he had a 560. I helped fix this credit within just a few months. He was able to buy a full family building, right? Now he's on his way to building legacy, because that's what y'all are here for. It's all about legacy. He just proposed to his fiance. He is now building legacy, not just for him, but for his family. And he's also bringing his business partners on board with him. Hold on 1 second. Look like it froze real quick. Another example. This young lady right here, with just the information that I gave her, I'm about to give you guys. I didn't even repair her credit. I just told her what to do off of a consultation, and she was able to buy a property. So these are a few more testimonials, just so you guys know the information that I am giving you, it is 100% legit. You can utilize it, and if you do it the right way, you will change your life, but not only just your life, your family's lives, because that's what y'all are here for. Y'all are here to build legacy. So why is credit important?
Share screen, bro.
It's not sharing?
Nah.
Oh, man, hold on 1 second. Y'all see now? We
Yes,
good?
Yes,
My apologies on that. So this was the young lady I just gave you guys a brief breakdown of. These are some other testimonials, so you guys know that the information that I'm giving you is valid. It definitely works. When you guys come together with your family legacy meeting and the information that I'm going to give you, use it to change your lives and your family's lives. So why is credit important? One, it determines where you live, right? It determines the school district of which your kids go to school in, which is extremely important. I don't know about you guys. I know where I'm from. I'm from Boston. I'm from the hood. I don't want my son going outside and being raised in a different type of in an environment that is unhealthy and is not conducive to his well-being, right? So I buy real estate out of where I currently was brought up at, and that way he can live a life that is unimaginable, right? That he can have peace, and I can have peace as a parent. Health and auto insurance, what a lot of people don't know is your credit can also determine your interest rates for your health and your auto insurance. One thing that you guys already know is home loans, car loans, and personal business loans, right? Obviously, the credit has an impact on those different factors. Now, the reason why you guys are here today, which is legacy and generational wealth, it helps expedite your wealth at a very high level, right? So it's important that you get your guys' credit together. Now, sorry. So Ramel already broke this down, right? So the reason, one thing that I wanted to touch on, which he didn't, is so a lot of people, they're like, yo, well, I'm paying my credit cards, but my score's not moving, right? So when it comes to on-time payments, I want to give you guys this gem. This is a major gem, and everybody should write this down. There's 3 different dates that you guys need to take into consideration, right? You got your due date, which is the date that everybody knows to pay your bill. You got your reporting date, and you got your statement date. So your due date, you pay your bill. Your reporting date, that is the date that the creditor reports to the credit bureaus, right? So let's say if you got an account with Bank of America, you got a credit card with Bank of America. They tell you your payment is due on the 1st. You know you got to pay your credit card on the 1st. But that's not the most important date. The most important date is your statement date. And you can get that by looking at your credit card statements. And the reason why that's the most important date is because that is going to be the balance that is reported to the credit bureaus on the reporting date. So it's important. So if you're going to use over 30% of your credit utilization, right? It's important that you pay that debt down back to 30% by the end statement date, because that end statement date is what is going to reflect on your credit report. And that is what's going to make your score either fluctuate or stay in a good space. All right, so your due date, your statement date, and your reporting date. Write those down. It's extremely important. This keeps it freezing. All right, cool. I apologize, y'all. My computer is glitching right now. All right, cool. So everybody knows the 3 main credit bureaus, right? Experian, TransUnion, and Equifax. On the right-hand side, these are the secondary credit bureaus. So you have LexisNexis, you have SageStream, you have Innovis, ARS, Check Systems, TransUnion, Rental Screening, and Early Warning Systems, right? So the reason why these secondary credit bureaus are so important is because this is also where a lot of your personal information is housed. So if you ever been in a space where you got something negative on your credit report and you try to dispute it and it comes back verified, that's because these secondary credit bureaus are also housing your information. So a lot of people don't know that. So before you get ready to start your disputing process for anything negative on your credit report, you want to make sure that you go to these websites and you freeze your credit profile and opt out, right? You're going to make it 1,000,000 times harder for the credit bureaus to verify anything that's negative on your credit report. So don't just focus solely on the big 3. Focus on these ones right here as well to help increase your chances of getting negative items removed from your credit report. All right? So, truth about credit reports. A lot of people don't know this. At least 1 in 5 people have errors on their credit report. I would probably say it's even higher, right? And as I give you guys a breakdown of a credit report, you're probably going to see that there's flaws and errors throughout your whole credit profile. So let me give you guys the blueprint, which you guys are here for, on how to repair your credit. So these are some of the different forms. Write this down, take a snapshot, do whatever it is that you got to do, because this is the real meat and potatoes of the credit disputing process, right? You got your factual disputes, which I'm going to touch base on. You got your law-based disputes, which is consumer laws, right? You got Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, which is the CFPB. You got the Better Business Bureau, which is the BBB. And then a lot of people don't know this, but you guys also file complaints with your state attorney general to help get accounts removed from your credit profile if you feel like the people that you're doing business with or the creditor that's reporting on your credit profile is wronging you. And I'm going to give you some examples of how probably 90% of you guys are being wrong and taken advantage of when it comes to your consumer profile. So these are some of the factual disputes. everybody should take notes of this. Outdated information. And I'm going to break this down even more. Outdated information, incorrect account numbers, accounts that have been re-aged. So accounts that have been re-aged. So let's say, for example, you had a collection on your credit report, right? You got TransUnion, Experian, and Equifax. The date of last payment, quote unquote, is January 1st, 2018. By law, that account's supposed to fall off your credit report by January of 2025, right? But let's say Equifax is reporting it as April of 2019. What happened was they now have added a whole year and some change on your credit profile, which is a violation of your consumer rights. So if you ever go and look at your credit profile, which I'm going to display to you guys, and you guys see different date of last payments, your account has been re-aged and it's inaccurate and inconsistent, which means that's grounds for removal. Incorrect balances. So when you look at your credit profile and you see incorrect balances, that's grounds for removal. Incorrect open dates, incorrect credit limits, credit card accounts not reporting credit limits that are supposed to, incorrect account type, charge off that has been sold or transferred that has a past due balance instead of a zero balance. That one is absolutely imperative to take a note of, because what you're going to see is as you got collections and charge-offs on your credit report, collection companies do this all the time. You will see a past due balance on your credit profile. And the fact of the matter is this shouldn't be there. That balance has been charged off, right? So if you ever have a charged off account or a collection account that has a past due balance, it's grounds for removal. A charge off account that's shown currently past due. Now, there's a few more factual disputes. Open charge off accounts, accounts not included in bankruptcy, collection accounts with a credit limit, closed accounts reported as open, accounts inaccurately reported as late or delinquent, incorrect date of last payment, date open, date of first delinquency, same debt listed multiple times. Now, that one's important because what you'll notice is that sometimes when you're dealing with an original creditor, they will sell that debt multiple times. So it's absolutely important that when you're looking at it, you look at your credit report in a great deal of detail, right? Because they will have the same account reported a number of times, and that's actually a violation of your rights. Misspelled names, wrong addresses, and same account with different lenders. Now, everybody should take a snapshot of this because this is absolutely important. So, the opt-out law, 15 USC 6802B, right? The reason why this is important, I'm gonna just read it, and you'll be able to determine why it's important. This is the privacy rule that protects consumers from non-public personal information, also known as NPI. NPI is a personal identifiable information that a financial institution collects about an individual in connection with a product, right? So a product could be a loan, it could be a credit card, it could be an auto loan, it could be a mortgage, it could be a line of credit. Anything that's pertaining to you obtaining credit is a product, right? Now, this includes any information an individual gives you to get a financial product or service. For example, once you give your name, address, income, social security number, or other information on an application. Any information you get about a new individual from a transaction involving your financial product or service, for example, the fact that the individual is your consumer or customer, account numbers, payment history, loan or deposit balances, and credit or debit card purchases, or any information you get about an individual in connection with providing a financial product or service, for example, information from court records or from consumer reports. NPI does not include information that you have reasonable biases to believe is lawfully made, publicly available. If you share NPI with non-affiliated third parties outside of the exceptions described as exceptions, you must also give your consumers an opt-out notice explaining the individual's rights to direct you not to share their NPI with non-affiliated third parties, a reasonable way to opt out, and C, a reasonable amount of time before you disclose their NPI. So I don't know if you guys fully process that, right? So anytime you're applying for a product, you have the right to not share your personal information with anybody. And if this lender or creditor decides that they want to share your information under the circumstances that, you might forfeit the bill or default on anything, they have to give you these last three that have been listed. If they don't, guess what? I don't know about you guys, but if somebody shares my personal information, my name, my social, my address with somebody without my consent, and they use it for their own personal means or gains, that's considered fraud. So if you have, if you're working with an original creditor and you acquire a product from them and you default on it, and they share your information with a third-party collection company, and that third-party collection company is now trying to acquire debt, allegedly, from you, and you never gave your consent for them to have your name, have your number, have your social, that's fraud. They're using that for their own personal gains. So that's why this law right here is so powerful. And once you know how to articulate yourself, and once you know the verbiage to use, you're going to realize that you're going to get a very different reaction from these debt collectors. So take a snapshot of these. I want you to, because these are important, because these are some of the laws that I use for my clients and for my mentees to help them get the results that they're looking for, right? So a couple of ones that I find that are extremely important, even though they all are, is this one right here, right? 15 USC 1681 EB and 15 USC 1681 I5. Anytime an account is not reporting 100% accurate, it's a violation of your consumer rights. And when I show you a redacted credit report, right? I'm going to show you a credit report. You're going to see when you look at yours that probably 95% of your credit report is inaccurate. So another gem, this is a sleeper. I don't know how many of you guys ever tried to dispute your own credit report, right? Get negative items off your credit report. If you've ever tried to do that and you look at your credit report and they have never made a notation of your dispute, that's a violation of your consumer rights, and you're allowed to get that item removed. And the law that we use for that is 15 USC 1681 S2. By law, if you dispute something on your credit report, it is the furnisher's job to make notation of that dispute. If they don't, for whatever reason, it's a violation of your rights. All right. So everybody take a snapshot of this. I'm going to get into an actual credit report, and I'm going to show you guys what it looks like and how to analyze it. You guys got the blueprint of what to look for when it comes to disputing it. All right, let me see. Let me just stop sharing real quick so I can hop into this credit report. All right, can y'all see my screen? Yep. All right, cool. So as I stated, right, this is somebody's credit report. I blinked all of their information out for security purposes. But when you are going and disputing your credit report, right? So when you guys get to your family legacy meeting and everybody comes together with their credit reports, this is Identity IQ. This is one of my favorite websites because it's easily digestible, it's pretty straightforward, and it allows you to see all three credit bureaus side by side, opposed to clicking and going back and forth between each tab, right? So you'll have TransUnion, Experian, and Equifax. You'll have your names. Everything right here for each item line should be identical. You want one name. You want one date of birth. You want one address, preferably, unless you move within the past 2 years, you may have two, right? And then for employers, I don't even want employers. So everything right here should be clean and straightforward. One name, one address, one date of birth, no employers preferably, all right? Now you get down here, this is where you get into the real meat and potatoes of your credit report. So as you can see, you got TransUnion, Experian, and Equifax, right? Let me see. This one's all identical. So when I'm analyzing credit reports, I go item line by item line, from account type down to the date of last payment to the 2-year payment history. And this is how you're going to be able to distinguish what is accurate and what is inaccurate. So right here, for example, Capital One, right? You got your date open. As you guys can see, for TransUnion, it says 9/13. For Experian, it says 9/1. For Equifax, it says 9/1. You got your high credit. For TransUnion, 547, Experian, 547, Equifax, 0, right? Everything on your credit report, once again, by law, is supposed to be accurate and consistent. If it's not, it's grounds for removal. So now let's get down here. Remember I told you guys about the re-aging of a credit report. So you got your date of last payment, 8/20/22, 8/20/22, 8/1/22. I don't care if it's a half a day off. If it's off, and it's not consistent, and it's a violation, right? Grounds for removal. You dispute it. We get here. We got the 2-year payment history. You get to July, we got 120 days late, 150 days late, and 120 days late. If it's accurate, it should be 120, 120, 120. Somebody's wrong, and I don't care who it is, get it off my credit report. All right? You look right here, December, you got on-time payment, 30 days late. Somebody's wrong. I don't care who it is. It's wrong. Get it off my credit report. Let me see. Let me see if I can find a collection for you guys. Well, let's see. 1 second. Collection right here, right? Item line by item line. Date open, 7/13, 7/1, 7/1. It's inaccurate, right? Now you go down here, you got your high credit. You got 379 for TransUnion, you got 0 for Experian, you got 280 for Equifax. That one should be extremely easy to get removed because you got 3 different balances for each credit bureau. It's a violation. You get your credit limit, 300, 300, and 0. How you got a 0 credit limit for Equifax? Right? It's a violation. So now, for Identity IQ, remember when I told you guys, if you ever try to dispute an account on your credit report and they've never made note of it, it should display right here in the comment section, right? So it would say consumer disputed account, it is resolved by creditor or grantor, whatever the case may be. If there is no notation of your dispute, it's grounds for removal. Right here, date of last payment. This would be a good one. 6/15/19, 6/15/19, 1/1/2018. This is re-aged more than a year. It's a violation. Get it off my credit report. Now you come down here, right? So let's say the date of last payment for TransUnion is 6/15/2019. You go here, what is it? They didn't notate that it was an on-time payment. This is all incomplete, and everything on your credit report must be complete, consistent, and accurate. If it's not, it's grounds for removal. So now you got TransUnion is completely incomplete. You got Experian, they got collections, right? And then you go down here, this guy's Equifax saying it's on time, but how do you have an on-time payment for an account that has been charged off in collections? So when you guys are going through your credit reports, this is what you're looking for. You're going item line by item line, and you are circling, highlighting anything on that credit report that is not accurate and is not consistent. And this is how you go and you clean up your credit report, right? So here's an example, comments. Account information disputed by consumer meets FCRA requirements. If you ever disputed an account, it should look like this. If it's not, it's grounds for removal. All right. So let me stop sharing this one, and I'm going to hop back into the presentation, and I'm actually going to show you guys the flow of the credit repair process once you're doing it for yourself or you're doing it for a family member. All right, you guys can see my screen again? All right, cool. So, sorry, before we get into it, some of you guys may not have bad credit. Some of you guys' issue might be that you don't have credit at all, right? So in order to get to a place where you're getting $100,000, $150,000, $200,000, you actually have to show that you are trustworthy. Because if you go to a bank and you're asking for $100,000, but you haven't even demonstrated that you can handle $5, they're never going to give it to you, right? So these are some of the different accounts that we put on people's credit profile, primary accounts, to help them build out their credit profile to make them a strong candidate in order to get a substantial amount of money from the banks, right? So take a snapshot of this, because these accounts help you build out your credit profile from 1 to 2 accounts to 0 to 8 to 10 accounts, all right? You got your self account, you got your Tomo, you got Rent Reporters, you got Rental Karma, you got Andrews Federal Credit Union, you got Navy Federal Pledge Loan, you got Kickoff, Extra Card, and an authorized user, also known as a trade line. This will help build your credit profile out to make it strong, to make you bankable, to make you appealing to the banks.